So hello and welcome to this episode of Snapshots. I hope you guys are well. I've got a really fantastic photographer and vlogger here today. His name is Daniel Wretham, and here he is. Hello, Daniel. How are you?
Hi, Gary. Yeah, I'm really well, thanks. How about yourself?
I'm not bad. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you one thing. We've been planning to do this for 2 or 3 weeks now, haven't we?
Yeah,
And
it's been ongoing.
it's been so hot.
It
Like,
has.
and it's really hot again today. I reckon you must just be
Yeah.
bringing the heat with you. That must
I
be what it is.
don't know about that, but it's certainly warm out there.
Yeah, it certainly is. So I tell you what, for those who don't know about you and your channel, just give us a real brief introduction to yourself.
Well, I'm a landscape photographer. I've been doing it for somewhere around 15 years, and YouTube I've only really just started. I haven't been even on there for 2 years yet, but I don't get to post that regularly. But it's yeah, it's all very new to me, and just thoroughly enjoying it.
Brilliant, excellent. Okay, so just going to ask you some really simple questions, nothing complicated,
Sure.
just some really simple questions, nothing technical, and we'll just have a chat. So first question, which I ask to everyone, is when did you start photography and why? What was it that got you into it?
It was a strange one, really. I was quite an outgoing character for a lot of years, and a few things sort of happened and changed that, and I became very, very introverted, and I was staying at home an awful lot, and I desperately wanted to get myself out of a rut, and so I started just going out and wandering around, on the coast, and I moved from Essex down to Dorset, and Dorset's got this magnificent coastline, and the more I went out, the more I fell in love with it, and the more I wanted to just kind of capture it and record it, really. So I got myself a little cheapy camera, started off and took some awful pictures, terrible, and that trend continued for quite a while, but it spurred me on to carry on and get into it. And yeah, it came from a love of being outdoors, really, and seeing some sites that I just didn't even know were on my doorstep.
Well, I've got to say, your work is fantastic. We're going to talk about your videos in a bit, but I've just watched your latest one from Corners Hill, and my God, the images from that were absolutely stunning, mate. I've got to say, they were
Oh, thanks,
so
Gary.
good.
I really appreciate that. Thank
No,
you.
no, that's true, mate. They were so good. So okay, so we know why photography, and we know when you started photography. Why YouTube?
Well, that was a weird one because, like I said, I'm quite an introverted character, and for years I'd always said I'd never ever do anything like YouTube. But as I was going out and I was doing all the photography, I started getting into videography a little bit, and I was recording lots and lots of clips, and I I had just gigs and gigs worth of footage, and I didn't know what to do with it. And one of my friends kept saying, just do YouTube. And I was probably the same as everyone. I didn't want to particularly go on there and face criticism or anything like that. I was nervous about it, but they kind of twisted my arm a little bit and said, well, if you do that, you'll kind of get over that fear of it. And it seemed logical, and I just thought, well, do you know what, why not? I really enjoy the filmmaking process, and really enjoy it, and it seemed a shame to just have these films with nothing ever happening with them. I wasn't putting them anywhere, so yeah, I decided on a whim to upload one, and yeah, that was it, really.
And how have you found it? Because you were saying there you were worried about negative feedback, as we all do, as
Yeah,
we all do. How have you found it?
I have to be honest, it's been absolutely positive, pretty much throughout. People are really supportive, very friendly. You get the occasional bit of constructive criticism, which is really welcome, because, you never know all the things, and people often help out. And, I love to engage with people. So it's never negative in a horrible sense. And I mean, anyone who's going to criticize in a just an attack sense, well, I don't really care, to be honest. If they can put a body of work up that shows me that they're an absolute expert at it, then I'd be happy to listen. If they can't, and they rarely do, because it's usually hidden behind someone,
Hmm.
then it doesn't really worry me. So no, on the whole, it's a very friendly place. And I've made friends with a lot of other vloggers as well. And occasionally, every so often, when I'm out, I bump into people who watch the channel, and that blows my mind. That's just such a lovely thing when someone actually comes up, recognizes you and say, oh, I watch your videos. I mean, it's really nice. It's a lovely thing. So yeah.
It's a weird feeling that
Very.
yeah, I think the weirdest thing about it, the strangest thing about it, when people recognise you, is they know you, so they watch you, and so they know your mannerisms, they know what you've been talking about, and you have no idea who they are.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah,
know,
you're 100% right. Yeah. I mean, again, I've been really fortunate. All the people that I've met have just been lovely, lovely people, and, kind of very similar outlook to me. They're usually sort of a little bit introverted. They love the outdoors. They love photography, and it's been a real source for them, and it's life changing for them. And, so you have an instant kind of, bond with them. It's really nice, but it's just so nice for people to come and introduce themselves. Really, it's, lovely.
absolutely, it really is. It really is. I remember walking around a photography show, and I think I just put a video out, being like miserable as I usually am, and I was walking around a photography show, and someone said, "I hope you're feeling better, Gary," and I'm like, that is so weird. That is just so weird.
Yeah.
So you were saying that you'd become introverted.
Yeah,
Would
yeah.
you say that this has helped then? The vlogging's helped you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a strange thing. I've always had, a good degree of confidence about me. I mean, for years I was a salesman, and that kind of goes with the job. But yeah, I don't know. I'd sort of shut myself away a little bit, and I was just, happier with my own company, to be honest. I mean, I'm still not one for crowds. I don't like crowds of people. I do anything to avoid that. But yeah, it's definitely it's given me a lot more confidence with it. And, the fact that it hasn't been a really sort of bad reaction or anything has really helped. And yeah, it's been helpful in all elements, not just the photography but in life as well. So yeah, a very positive experience.
Oh, good, good. I found that too. So definitely
Good,
found that too.
good.
So if no one's seen you before, and you want to give them one of your videos to say, this is me summed up in one video, what video would it be?
Oh, that's really hard one to say. I don't know, because each session is usually so different, and there's a different level of emotion in each of them. I mean, sometimes you're having like the latest one, the Colmers Hill one, there was hardly any vlog on there because I was so busy shooting and I was so excited by it
Yeah.
that I didn't really get a chance to view it. But that's nice to see that enthusiasm. Whereas there are other sessions which it's a lot harder, and you're really having to work for it. And maybe you're telling the viewer what you're doing and how you're adapting to the situation. So maybe that one's a good one to watch. I mean, um, I'll say the Colmers Hill one, because I mean, it was a great shoot, a great outcome, and it was, personally for me, it meant an awful lot to get an image that I've been chasing for a lot of years, and I've got most of the images that I want to endorse it, but that one had eluded me for forever, and I just couldn't crack it. And of course, this one I finally crack it. So yeah, maybe say Colmers Hill one.
Fair enough. I mean, the conditions were spot on, weren't they?
They're just dream.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got to say as well. I don't want to make it out like, oh, I love your work and all that. But your level, your standard of videography is really good as well. I mean, you
Oh,
got
thanks, Gary.
no, so look, I'm just being honest, mate. The drone work's excellent. Your transitions are excellent. You're always quite. I find you very technical, like quite a technical vlogger. So it's good to watch. You're not just going out and saying, although you kind of did on Colmers Hill, but you're not just going out and saying, you know, this is it, here I am. You're actually explaining why, and you've got these little, you have the little infographics coming up on your videos. I think it's really good. I think
Oh, thank you.
it's a good level, and I don't understand why you don't have more subscribers and views. To be honest with you.
I mean, well, I'm super grateful for every single one I get. And, to be fair, I know we kind of all say, oh, I don't do it for the views and the subscribers. And of course, we all want that. It's a really, really hard one. I mean, the trouble is, I've done these videos mainly for kind of family and friends to start with, because I wanted them to see what I did and how much I enjoyed it. And, when I disappear all weekend, this is what I'm doing. And then, obviously, like I say, I'm never going to say I don't want to get more subscribers. Of course I do, and it'd be lovely for it to get out there. But yeah, and in terms of the videography, I mean, thank you for the lovely compliments. I'm still very new at that. I'm totally learning, but I get kind of obsessive with it, and it's like, I want to be like a sponge, and I try and learn everything I can about it. And as I say, I'm still in my infancy, but I'd like to think that with each video it improves a little bit, and I learn something more. And you know, I do try and put a lot of effort into them. You know, sometimes you have to throw a load away. I'm sure you've probably done a few in the past where you get it back, you put it together, and you just think, oh, that's rubbish, I can't put that out, and it goes
every week, mate. Every week.
There you go. Yeah, kind of the same, really.
And then I just put it out anyway. So yeah. It's weird, though. I tell you, it's weird talking about that. It's clear you put a lot of effort in, and I try and put effort into into my vlogs, but it's always the ones where I don't put any effort in, where I'm just like yapping onto this. So like I did one the other week about, I was moaning about something or whatever. It's got 1,000 views, which isn't huge, but it's quite big compared to a lot of my others. And then there'll be another one where I put loads of effort in and it gets like 400, and I'm like, should I just moan at the camera more often? You know?
Exactly that. I mean, it's very frustrating, but I found the same with pictures, really. The pictures that I put on my site that I think I'm most proud of, these pictures, you know, maybe there's a story behind it, maybe it's a technical aspect, but the pictures I'm most proud of are the ones that really probably don't sell that much. And the ones that I'm a bit not really sure about, that they'll fly, and you think, why are you buying that one and not this one? But it's just how people, you know, that they perceive what they want and what they like, and you know, everyone's different. Just because I think it's a good one, other people will tell me it's rubbish, and they're probably right. It's just it works for me.
I think it's a photographer's thing. I think the photographer's eye is different. What they look at, because they know the effort they've put into it, and they know the conditions, etc. A lot of people who purchase photos or images, they're just sort of looking for a different style of picture. So like a lot of photographers, I look at black and whites, and I love black and whites, but black and whites is not what appeals to the general public. They want colourful pictures like that. Yeah. So, you know, it's probably different in that respect, I reckon.
See, that's the double-edged sword, isn't it? You know that you're probably going to sell a lot more pictures if you make them super saturated and a bit over the top, because that's what the public will generally buy. But your personal, you know, standard that you want to have is something that your peers would respect, and, you know, a natural, nice image, but you know it will never sell as well. And it's just, I'd sooner have what I wanted, because it's my work, and I'd sooner it was represented how I wanted it represented than make a sale. Really, the money's kind of immaterial. It's just, I mean, it's nice, but you know, the work is, you know, I'd sooner leave behind a body of work that I was proud of than, you know, anything else, really.
Absolutely. Moving on, if you've got one favourite photography tip that you like to give out to anybody, it can be technical, it can be non-technical, what would it be?
It's not so much a tip, but it's enjoy it. I mean, to me, that's the whole thing. I guess I shouldn't skip the question. One tip, look behind you. I mean, for me, more often than not, I find the best shots I've taken are generally with the light either being on a side light or coming from behind you and onto your subject. And, you know, it's often an indication of what's going to happen before the sun sets in front of you. So, yeah, look behind you scores a lot of shots, and it's just, it's really benefited me. But I do go back to the enjoy it thing. Don't get too tied up in the rat race of photography. Don't do the whole social media thing till you burn yourself out. Just enjoy it and savor that time out there, because it's just never, you know, anything other than time well spent being outside.
Good advice. That's when you were saying, I better do a proper one, I was like, no, actually enjoying it is a really important thing.
It's my number one thing, Gary. It's a release for me, you know. It's photography is my escape from everything. And you know, it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. If you go out and do photography, you never come back and, you know, that being that grumpy, unless you've had a horrific shoot, which, you know, you do get occasionally. But you know, still being outside better than, you know, most days, isn't it?
Exactly. And you always get something from it, even if it's terrible, you still get something from it.
Absolutely. I mean, I've said before, photography, obviously we want to go out and we want to get a picture, that's the point, but you know, it should be about the experience, and the picture should be a byproduct of the experience, and just enjoying the whole thing, you know, as one package. And if you come away with a picture, well, that's a brilliant bonus, and you've got a memory of it that you can actually look back on. That's great. So
very true. I like that attitude. Very true. Right, okay, I'm going to move away from photography for a second. All right, you'll like this one. Well, you might not, but you might. Okay, so you've been arrested, right?
Okay.
Right, and you're at the police station and you can only have one phone call, right? And you can only phone a photography vlogger, right?
Ooh.
Who are you going to phone, and how are they going to help you?
Oh my God, that's a really good question. Do you know what? I don't know why, but the first person that popped into my mind was Adam Gibbs. I mean, I don't know Adam, never met him, but I just figure he's so cool, calm and collected that he could talk you out of any situation. Regardless of the fact that he's in Canada, he just sort it right out. I don't know why, but that just springs to my mind.
Yeah, no, that's a good answer, and he'd probably be able to sell a couple of prints while he's there
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely. Yeah,
So,
might burn another one of Gavin's books.
yeah, maybe, or we could just hit the police officers over the head with his award.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that might do the job. So, Adam Gibbs, okay, I like that one. All right. So, moving back to photography, if you could only go back to one location again, and also if there was one location that you haven't been to that you'd like to go to, what are they?
The one that I haven't been to that I really want to go to is the Dolomites. I absolutely love the idea of it. I mean, what a location, so much to shoot there, so many different varieties of conditions available. Yeah, it just looks incredible. Never been, love to go. It's definitely on the bucket list. In terms of one I'd have to keep going back to, I kind of have one already, really. I tend to do, you'll laugh at it, but every year, once a year, without fail, I'm usually up at I can't say it properly, Pont Ned Fechan, basically waterfall country in Wales.
Okay.
And I just treat it as a little annual trip. I mean, I've shot it so many times, but I just love it. I mean, we don't really have much in the way of waterfalls down here in Dorset. So it's a real treat to get up there. And I love to just go up there in autumn. And, you know, it usually involves probably, you know, taking a friend who hasn't shot it up there. But I've done it so many times, but I can't not go. I just adore shooting it. And, yeah, I'm hoping to go up again this year. And hopefully, if I can, I'll meet up with Alan Coles, who I'm really looking forward to seeing. So,
oh, actually, yeah, that's a good point, because when I told him that I was going to be talking to you, he said, "Please say hello." So
that's
Alan
really
says hello.
kind.
Yeah, no,
He's
Alan's
just
a great guy.
he's the nicest guy, isn't it? I absolutely love seeing his stuff on the vlogs. Just
He's so knowledgeable as well.
big
You know.
time. Yeah.
And talking of the waterfalls, wow, it's amazing over there. It's absolutely amazing. So
Yeah. No, I mean, I've shot an awful lot of them, but, you know, when I watch his vlogs and every time he does a waterfall, I think, I don't even know where that is. And I think I'm reasonably knowledgeable of that area, but you just cannot beat someone who's got that much knowledge of, you know, and even such a wide area. Just absolute legend. Really, really nice guy.
yeah, well, I can tell you where they are. They're mostly up single bloody track lanes.
Yeah.
Most of them. And there's always a van coming the other way. It's like, I think they're hired. I think they're hired by the Welsh to come.
That's it, drive you away.
Yeah, here comes a photographer. Quick, get in the transit and come in the opposite direction and make him drive into the hedge.
That's it. I always get some sort of like massive SUV camper van type thing, you know, that just comes out of nowhere. You think, how did you even get down there?
Yeah, they've got drones, mate. They've got satellite. They're tracker saw as we come over the bridge.
That's it.
They know exactly what we're doing.
On the phone, he's coming, pull out.
yeah, exactly. Get out, stop him now. So yeah. I actually, I wouldn't be surprised. That's a conspiracy theory for everyone, but
definitely one for the podcast.
Yes, we shall ask that question. Definitely, we shall. All right, so let's have your best experience behind a camera and your worst experience behind a camera.
Okay, I'll do worst first because that one's quite easy to do. It was about I want to say about 8, maybe 9 years ago, and I'm really hoping my mum and dad don't see this now because they'll worry about it. But I had at the time it was a 5D Mark II, and it was my pride and joy, and I'd worked so hard to save up for this thing, and I'd loved it, and I'd had good use out of it. It was my first real high-end camera, and I'd gone to a place on the Jurassic Coast called Seacombe. And it was December, and it was, you know, bitterly cold, and the sea was really quite rough. And if you don't know the location, it's basically a couple of ledges, sea, and some big cliffs either side. And I sat up on these cliffs waiting for about 15 minutes watching the sea just to see if it was safe to go down on, you know, one of the ledges and do some pictures, and nothing happened. So I thought, okay, I'll go down there. I was on it for about literally less than a minute, and a huge wave just hit, took me straight out, took my gear, knocked my camera out. And as the wave receded, I was getting pulled out to sea, and there's one particular like rock there that just comes out, the rest of it's flat, and I just caught my leg on it, and it basically stopped me from drowning, really. And I managed to get out, but the camera, it was totally ruined. You know, I got some brand new filters which dropped off, they disappeared. And I had about a mile and a half walk back in December in the freezing cold, completely drenched head to toe. And yeah, I don't mind saying I was scared to death. I was absolutely petrified. It was just a horrific experience, and it really taught me a valuable lesson, which is, you know, you just never turn your back on the sea. You never put too much trust in it. You know, conditions, they can change in an instant. And yeah, it was a real wake-up call. Horrible experience, but you know, taught me something, and I'm a lot more careful now. And yeah, so
wow,
that was
I mean, that must have been frightening. That must, I can't even imagine. I mean, fortunately I'm not capable of climbing, so I wouldn't have been down there in the first place, but that sounds horrific.
It took me, I think, probably 2 years before I'd even go back to the location, because I was so scared of it. And even now I haven't shot it anywhere near as much, because it does scare me. And if I do go back, I kind of tend to shoot it from the cliff top rather than down on the ledges, even though, you know, not 9 times out of 10 it's perfectly safe. It's just the thought of what happened and then what could have happened. Yeah, it was a wake-up call, very scary. And yeah, I just hope no one else kind of goes through anything similar, because it really is just awful.
Well, maybe someone listening might you know, be a bit more wary if they, you know, you never know, that might help someone. Your experience might help someone else by sharing it. So
that's it. Always let someone know where you go, because I didn't. No one knew where I was, you know. And okay. Yeah, just be really, really careful. And the sea is absolutely lethal if you're not careful with it. Even, you know, at that time I'd been shooting for probably, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 years, maybe a little bit less, but I was quite experienced down there. I just got caught out, and it just goes to show how easy it is. So yeah. Oh, well, on to brighter subjects, the best time. That one's really difficult to answer, because there's so many euphoric moments with landscape photography when you get these epic conditions where everything just, you know, lights up, goes right. Or, you know, the times where everything's looking rubbish, it's not happening, and out of nowhere it just lights up. And I can't break down one single one that's specific, but it's kind of that, but paired with the experience of, because I shoot pretty much on my own most of the time, but I have such good times when I go with good friends, and, you know, we enjoy that experience as, you know, as a group.
Yeah.
And everyone's buzzing, everyone comes away with great pictures. And like I say, it's not pinning it down to a moment, but it's a feeling and an experience from landscape photography. I'd say those group moments where it all goes off and everyone's just ecstatic, and you're talking about it for months afterwards. Oh, do you remember when that happened? And oh, you know, what a shoot, what a session. It's got to be that.
Basically what you're saying is, equal first, every vlog you've done, go and watch them.
Always, absolutely. Yeah. Watch them twice just to be sure.
Oh dear. All right then. Okay, so another question now. I like asking this one because I always find the answers fascinating. Social media. Okay. Oh. Blessing or curse?
Absolute curse. I mean,
and why?
Okay, it's a weird one, because I've got all the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram. I just don't post on them though. The only one that I keep regular is obviously YouTube, and that's only because I really enjoy the filmmaking. Why? Well, again, it is a double-edged sword. There is a blessing from the point of view you get your work out to a load more people who see it. But the trouble is, these companies, they just make you want to feed this algorithm, and it detracts from what it's all about. And you put so much time and effort into this, and you're missing out time with your families, you know, time with your friends, time actually out for doing photography. And I just think they're horrible, horrible things. I'm not a fan of social media at all. Like I say, I have it. I know it makes me a hypocrite. And every so often, I mean, I'll go 6 months without posting anything on Instagram, just a random picture every now and then. I really don't care about having a following or being a you know, a known photographer or something, it's always lovely. Don't get me wrong, when people like your work, and you know, that is nice. And I see why people get addicted to that, because they're looking for that constant hit. But the trouble is, I think it's so damaging. And you know, the people that are considered maybe a big photographer because they've got a big following aren't always the best photographers. Most of the really
no, surely not.
do you know what, most of the best photographers I know have got hardly any following at all. But if you see their work, you'd just be blown away by it. But they just don't shout it out. They're just quiet, unassuming guys who just take epic pictures and just are in the moment, and they're doing it for them. They're not really doing it to share. And you know, I really admire that. And that's kind of half the reason I didn't come off it, but I just made a conscious decision not to pursue it, really. So
I'm with you on that. Actually, I got a lot of respect for the people who go out and just take photos for themselves. They don't worry about what anyone else thinks. They don't care about algorithms or likes or fame or any of that. They just do it because they love it, and they're the ones that I've got the most respect for. Who is your favourite YouTuber? Who's your favourite YouTuber? It doesn't have to be photography. Could be anything.
I'm going to sound so bad because I can't make a decision. I like different people for different things. I mean, Photo Tripper, I like because the guy's just hilarious. I mean, amazing photographer as well. But you know, I love watching his stuff. It's just very good. But then equally, I like some of the underdogs that you probably won't have heard of. Or, well, I know you probably will, because you very much follow that. But I like the guys because they're passionate about it. They're not doing it for the views. They're not doing it for the numbers, you know. And in fact, I think you mentioned him on the podcast, Trevor Fennis.
Yeah.
I just love seeing him do it, because he just loves what he does. You know, he's out all the time. Just great. And
well, I've actually spoken to Trevor on this. So
brilliant.
That'll probably be out already in real terms. But yeah, he's a great guy. And when you hear his backstory as well, you just go, do you know what? I've got so much respect for him. And he's the type of vlogger I've got a lot of respect.
Yeah, like I said, I just love the fact that he's in it because he loves it, and you know, that to me is brilliant. I mean, there's loads of other people that I really like as well. I mean, but for different things. For like a technical photographer who I just love his work, Stuart McGlennon. Just the way he shoots is how I wish I could shoot. You know, he uses his light, and just, you know, great to watch. Like I say, I don't want to cop out, because I could just list hundreds that I really, really like. But like I say, all for different reasons. In terms of technical, probably Stuart McGlennon. In terms of just entertainment, Photo Tripper, you know. And then just like I say, for the underdogs, I'm going to say Trevor, because he you know, just
he's Dorset man. Yeah, I was going to say, he's your neck of the woods as well, isn't he? So yeah, you know, maybe you should meet up.
We're going to do that at some point for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
defo. He's a great guy. I got to say,
yeah, really nice.
Yeah. All right, okay. So here's one then for you. This might be interesting for you to consider. If you could go back to the very beginning of your YouTube channel and start it again, what would you do differently?
Do you know what? I probably record about 10-15 episodes before I even release one. And I totally didn't understand the pressure I put on myself at the start. I did it, you know, not to do it for the reasons of kind of general YouTube, but I suddenly found myself putting pressure on myself because I had to make an episode for the week. It's exactly what I said about social media, really. And I fell into that trap. And it was only, you know, I think it was when the pandemic came along, and I then couldn't release an episode, and I was facing a choice. I either put out some old what's in my camera bag crap or something like that, or I don't put a video out. And I didn't want to put out a video that wasn't what I wanted to do. And I didn't want to do one of these, I know you feel the same on this, but one of these, the 7 bests, this will change your photography, just rubbish videos. I don't like that. I didn't want a channel to be about that. And it was a panic moment, and I just made the decision, no, I'll put out the things that I like doing and keep kind of true to the channel. And once I'd missed a week, it was like the world didn't stop.
Exactly.
It wasn't that bad. And so I consequently had about 6 months off it, and I didn't worry about it. And that was, sorry to sort of go off point, but that was the thing that I would say I'd like to have done different. I would have liked to have been more prepared for it and worried less about, you know, putting constant content out and for, you know, worrying for the wrong reasons. You know, just basically gone back to what I said about enjoying it and not pressuring myself.
It's only natural though. We all,
Yeah, absolutely.
we all did it.
Yeah,
Or, you know, everybody they get that weekly thing, and then they
yeah,
I've got to get some out.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you know, preloading stuff I probably wish I could have done that myself. But then
Mm.
I think more than that, I wish that I just didn't have that. I wish I could just have gone. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah,
Like you said,
totally.
it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. You know,
It's
just relax.
everything about starting YouTube is the fear. It's the fear of being rejected. It's the fear of, you know, not getting something out on time, and it's constant fear. And then when it actually happens, you say, "Oh, well, it wasn't that bad. It didn't really matter." And it is a double-edged sword again, because YouTube, as you know, it will punish you if you don't put a scheduled video out every week. It will just not show your video to, you know, a bunch of people, and so you suffer that way. But once you say to yourself, does it really matter? Do I really care? Is it about growing the following, or is it just about doing what I like? Once you say that to yourself and you actually are all right with it, all of a sudden it doesn't matter. But yeah, it was the end of the world. First of all, you know, it was like, oh my god, I'm not going to put one out. You know, everyone's going to leave.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just wish the pressure hadn't been there put on by myself.
Yeah, my daughters, I vividly remember this. I don't know what it was on, something like Snapchat or something. They did this. They had this thing with their friends called streaks, right?
Okay.
Which is every day you just type an S, and you send it to your friend, right? And
Right.
then you get a streak of days, so X number of days.
Okay.
And they got this fear that, like, I can't not send this S because
Yeah, it's
I'll break the
crazy.
streak. And it's like, well, what are you sending it for in the first place?
Yeah,
You know, it's kind of like what YouTube. That's what YouTube's about as well. It's like it's having that fear
absolutely.
that's
But this is what happens. These sort of social media companies, they install this fear into you to make you keep producing content to feed them so they can feed everyone else. And that's the trap to fall into. And like I say, I was as guilty as anyone. First of all, I totally understand it. And you know, I was of that mind that no, I'm not going to fall into that trap. And the second I started, I fell straight into it head first. You know, threw myself in.
yeah, literally, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
yeah, it's crazy, but it doesn't, like, for anyone out there, you know, making videos, it doesn't matter really.
yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one. Do you take photos for you? I think I know the answer to this. Or do you take photos for other people?
It's a little bit of both. I'd say 90% I take them for me and 10% for others, and the others being I do kind of some magazine shoots and bits and pieces, and it's a very different look to what I'd go for. And I touched on that a couple of vlogs ago, really. I mean, I've got one magazine and they, you know, it's like a very much a touristy type magazine, and they want to show the whole blue sky scenery, you know, beautiful dream location. Of course, it's not what I want to shoot, but I often shoot that because that's the sort of picture that they'll, you know, want to buy for the magazine. So there is a little bit. I'm at the end of the day, I have to put food on the table, so I will do that. But if I'm out taking pictures for me or the vlogs, it's 99% for me. And you know, if I'm just doing a normal day's photography, no vlogging, then it's probably 10% for someone else, 90% for me. So
Okay, yeah, good answer, good answer. All right then. What's your favorite piece of kit you've ever had? Your favorite camera, or your favorite lens, something that that just, you know, even if it didn't perform brilliantly, something that you just really fondly think about.
probably my Canon 5D Mark II. That was the biggest game changer for me. That was when I went from, you know, just like a normal crop sensor up to full frame. And I just remember you know, and I got it with a wide angle lens. I think it was a 15-35 at the time. And just looking through this thing and seeing all of this view that I could never see before, it was just so exciting, and it just opened up new possibilities, and I couldn't get out fast enough. And I remember shooting with this thing, and you know, the image quality was better than anything I'd ever used. There was so much more I could adjust to make the picture. It just opened my eyes, and for me, that's the one thing that I remember most, probably fondly, out of all kit. But there is There is two actually. Oh, this is really. I'm so indecisive. I'm really sorry, Gary.
I hadn't noticed. I mean, you haven't given me like a single answer
I
yet. So.
know. Yeah, I'm being really indecisive, or am I? I'm not sure. No. There's another bit of kit which surprised me. I was really anti drones for years and years. Didn't. Oh, just it drove me mad. If someone flew one near me when I was doing photography, it just ruined it for me. I hated it. I can't tell you how anti I was. I always loved the footage they produced, and it was a kind of like a, if I start YouTube, I'll have to get one. I'll need one, you know. And so anyway, I got this thing, Gary. I fell in love with it straight away. It was just the best thing ever. I mean, I'm really conscious of it. If there's people around, I don't fly. I don't want to upset anyone else and annoy them. But it was a game changer. And seeing, you know, that you could take shots from angles you'd never got to. And so, yeah, one of them's probably sentimental in the 5D Mark II, but the drone was kind of a real eye-opener. And thinking about it, I probably had more fun with that than anything. And I had to eat my own words because I was so anti-drone.
But you got an Air 2S, right?
Yeah.
And they're quite compact. I mean, they're not the minis, but they're quite compact.
Yeah.
So that's fine. But when I got my first drone, it was one of those Phantoms.
Oh, right? They were huge,
so
yeah.
It was like flying a helicopter
in a box.
Exactly. And so I get where, like, if someone flew that near me, I'd be like, please get that drone out of the way. It's so annoying. So I think that might be where your thing came from initially.
Yeah,
is that drones were always massive and noisy, great beasts. But they're quite. Yeah, I love a drone myself. I do. When I don't crush it, I love it.
Yeah. To be fair, when they're kind of like high up, you don't really even hear them. It's only if they're directly overhead. And as I say, I give a bit of respect. You know, if there's people there, I'm not going to be in their faces with a drone buzzing around them. It would annoy me, so I won't do it to them. But if there's no one around, I can't get the thing out fast enough. I love it.
Well, I've got to say as well, you know, going to go back to it, your drone work's excellent. So, it's very good.
I'm still a real beginner at it, Gary. I'm still learning so much with it. I mean,
no, but it's surprising though how many people you see. You've got it right. You do your little turn or whatever, and then you fly it, and then you that's the bit you use. And there's so many people who are like change. Exactly. It's like, what? That looks rubbish. What are you doing? So no. It's, kudos, mate. So it's good.
Oh, thank you. It's part of the process though. When you're kind of making a film, you're thinking about everything, and you're thinking, well, I know my transition's going to be somewhere under maybe 10 seconds, so I know I've got to get 10 seconds of footage in that direction before you change. So it's just, I think, you know, I started off doing exactly that, you know, changes every 2 seconds, realize it looked bloody awful, and consequently had to adapt and change how I flew it. So
it's surprising how many people use drones, and like I think you got it about right. I like to think I get it about right. You only use them for a very small amount of the video. You know, you don't. Oh, I've got a drone. I'm going to like 15 minutes of here it is going up and down every time there's a cut. Oh, we'll put a drone in. It's only just to set the scene. You know? Yeah,
that's the thing. You're exactly right. It's to, I want to give someone an overall view of what I'm shooting, because when you're stood in one position, they can't see, you know, over a cliff or, you know, down to the side. The drone's just a nice way of just making it a bit more immersive and just saying to someone, look, this is what I've come down to shoot. Have a look around the whole thing, and, you know, just get an idea of it, really. Because when you're trying to put it into words, I mean, I don't know if you're the same as me, but I struggle getting my words out sometimes, and I might do the same take like a dozen times and just keep messing it up. And in the end, you just think, well, thank God I got a bit of a drone footage to go over the top so I can splice two bits together.
Exactly. That's what it's for. It's for covering all of your errors. So, all right, okay. So I think we're nearly done, but I just want to finish up with this could be a long question. Now I want one, right?
Okay, one.
What's your favourite? What's your favourite photo you've ever taken? Talk us through it.
It's probably there's one of Wretham Quay, and it's quite a well-known picture. It's certainly not like an original by any means. It's you know, it has been shot to death, but it was a misty morning. Sun was ever so nice, like really sort of pastel, you know, sort of tones coming through, and it was just a real moment. And it was a strange one. I literally, and this never happens, I rocked up, I took the picture and I disappeared. And I went off to do something else because there was some other people there, and you know, it was getting a little bit crowded. I literally rocked up, took the picture, and was gone. And I, when I got it back, I was so pleased with it. And it was a strange one. It wasn't hard earned, and most of the pictures that I really love are hard earned, and this one wasn't. It was so easy, and so I almost feel a bit guilty for that. And if I showed other people the picture, they'd probably say, "Oh, it's nothing special," but it's just I really like it, and it was just, you know, in that moment, in that mood. And every time I look at it, and coincidentally, it is one of my better selling ones, so people do tend to like that. But it's just, yeah, it's just a nice image for me. I've taken better technical images. I just like it.
Brilliant. Okay, well, look, thank you so much for that chat. It was absolutely fantastic.
Honestly, thank you so much for having me on, Gary. I can't tell you just how much I appreciate it.
No, mate. Honestly,
Really
it's lovely talking to you. And maybe at some point, if I get down your way, we can go out and take some photos. I know we spoke about it before, haven't we?
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. Please let me know if you're coming down. I'll show you all the places that people don't know about still in Dorset. And
excellent.
Yeah, we'll have a good old giggle.
All right, brilliant. Well, thank you so much. I'll put the description or the link to your channel in the description. It's been brilliant talking to you. And thank you guys for watching, all two of you that have probably left after the series of ones that I've done. And we'll see you again soon. So thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thanks, Gary. Take care.